Ladies, welcome to your 40s. It seems like the day I turned 40, I looked in the mirror and my hair wasn't the color it was supposed to be. Not only that, I couldn't see my hair very well. Quickly learned that I could only see things from far away. I think it's strange when we're young ladies, they warn us about puberty. They warn us well enough in advance, usually, what's coming, about the hormones going crazy, growing body parts that we didn't used to have, our body changing shape, different needs and wants and desires, and the dreaded menstrual cycle, which are all part of our gateway to womanhood. What I don't remember is anybody sitting down with me at any point and saying, guess what? When you turn 40, joke's on you. Everything's gonna change. A lot of things changed all at once for me, and I think it's probably going to be the same with most of my viewers. Some who are in their 40s now, some beyond their 40s, and a few fortunate viewers who are not yet there. Consider this your woman-to-woman chat, the one that I wish someone had had with me at least 5 years ago. I'm actually in my mid-40s now, technically, and it took me a few years to accept that I probably am going to start coloring my hair. My grandmother, on my mother's side, colored her hair, I guess until she passed away. I never knew her to have gray hair. She either had on a wig or she colored her hair jet black, but it suited her. She also didn't get her ears pierced until she was in her late 70s or early 80s. And also wanted to drive a convertible. Those are some pretty good goals, I think. Yeah, I thought I would be okay with El Natural hairdo, hairstyle, hair color. And then it started creeping in the way it does on most people. I should have known. I used to work in a salon, for goodness sakes, that when you hit 40, the little gray hairs are no longer here and there. They start growing from the root up, and you have this beautiful, natural bandana of silver. That's what my daughter likes to call it. My silver hair. It is beautiful in some ways. I'm just not ready to accept that just yet. It's fine if you do. My other grandmother, on my father's side, had snow white hair. Beautiful snow white hair for as long as I can remember. I don't remember her with dark hair. I've seen pictures. And she kept it that way. And it was beautiful. And she was comfortable with it. So I'm sure at some point I'll come to grips with all of this gray or silver. But for now, I'm going to keep coloring it. Another big surprise to me, wish somebody had told me about it, I've always had 20/20 vision. Some of you can relate to this. At the very worst, at one point the doctor told me I had 20/15 vision. My left eye is a little bit worse. But I've never needed glasses. There was a period of time when I wore contacts. They were colored contacts. In middle school, or maybe early high school, that was more for fun than vision correction. I think they were 20/15. And the eye doctor said, "Do you want to wear contacts?" And I said, "Yes." So he gave them to me. So I've been blessed to never need vision correction until I turned 40. You start out holding things a little bit further. You know, they're just a little out of focus this close, so you go a little further, and finally you get to where you're an arm's length away and you just can't make out those words anymore. And you think, well, geez, something's the matter with my eyes. And then you realize, no, nothing's the matter with your eyes. You've just had 40 birthdays. Happy birthday to you. And it never gets better than that. You get further and further and further away until you get to purchase these beautiful glasses that help you see up close. And then when you want to see far away, you have to take them off. Anything in between, it's kind of dizzying. Still adjusting to that. So yeah, lots of changes. So why am I sharing this with you? Am I trying to be gloomy and doomy? No, I'm trying to give you the warning I wish I would have had. Your waistline's not going to be as small as it used to be, no matter what you do. Whether you've had children or not, you're not going to be the same shape that you were when you were 18. And that's okay. We learn to accept that. If you try to lose weight, it's going to take a lot longer. It's going to take a lot more patience. One particularly cruel trick that our 40s play on us. It's the worst timing in the world. It's about the time when our kids are teenagers. So they're going through this rush of hormones. They're dealing with their own stuff. And then all of a sudden we feel like we're losing our minds. We can't remember. We're emotional. Our hormones are out of whack. You toss and turn at night, all these racing thoughts going through your head, and then you have crazy dreams, like when you're pregnant too. My favorite dream when I was pregnant, one of the weird ones, was that I was in a big bowl full of Jell-O swimming. It was cold and it felt so good, especially because when I was pregnant, I was hot all the time. Oh, hot. Hot. Yeah, that's a nice little surprise too. You're hot 1 minute, you know, they call them hot flashes. Everybody else in the room is fine. They're comfortable. You turn bright red, you break out in a sweat. All of those new parts that you grew when you were a teenager get really hot and uncomfortable. You cool off. You're all sweaty. And then you start freezing. We're not supposed to be lukewarm. If you're in your 40s, you're not lukewarm. Because just like that birds and bees talk that they had with us before we became teenagers, there's another talk they need to have. Your body's going to change again. The shape is going to change. The waistline's going to grow, and that's okay. It's just something we've got to accept. Let me know in the comments below your experience with turning 40. I'm in my mid-40s now, so I've been at it a few years. I've got a little bit of experience under my belt. What helped? Did anybody warn you about what was coming up? How soon after you started seeing gray did you start coloring your hair? Or did you dare to go natural from the beginning? Maybe you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, or you're one of those blessed ladies that I love, that have made it through all of this stuff, good and bad, and you're in your 80s or even your 90s. We'd love to read your comments below. We can help each other out, ladies. I hope I didn't blow many of your minds or give you a bad day and you're not dreading the future. I just want to let you know what's ahead because nobody let me know. And I think it would be a good idea, just like we have that facts of life birds and bees talk when we're about to be teenagers. let's have a midlife talk with our kids. And someday, could be now, could be later, my 2 girls might be watching this. Look what you have to look forward to. But it's not all bad. I'll be right back. I've got to rinse my hair. All right, I'm back. What were we talking about? Yeah, that's another thing that came along with the 40s, especially now that I'm in my mid-40s. We all have a little bit of short-term memory loss, like we might go to the kitchen, get a glass, get some ice, and forget what we were going to drink. We might be on the phone with our mom talking about our favorite aunt and her antics and forget our aunt's name. Sometimes I'm typing up a blog, and that word that I've used 100 million times in the last lifetime, I forget how to spell it. Another one of those things that makes you think you're losing your mind, but it's perfectly normal according to my doctor. Be glad that I told you. I really thought I was going crazy. So, the good news about being in the 40s. There is some, and I'm sure some of you who have passed this stage can tell me more. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I'm pretty comfortable in my skin. You can take me or you can leave me. I guess that's why I'm comfortable doing YouTube now. I get the good criticisms. I get the bad criticisms. Take it or leave it. I'm not going to say things don't hurt as much. As a matter of fact, that brings up a good point. All this hormone talk and all these changes, life has a funny way of saying gotcha about that. The whole timing of it all just seems like it's not fair. When you hit your 40s is usually when your kids start hitting their teen years and they're having hormonal issues and they're angry and sad and upset and, they have all these emotions and we're going through the same thing at the same time. Maybe that's so we can relate to each other, but it also makes it very difficult to have bonding time sometimes. Another issue I'm thinking about, I've got 2 adult, well, almost within the next month, I'll have 2 adult children. They're not going to be home much longer. That's a hard thing to think about and a fun thing to think about too. I'm sure my husband and I are going to have some fun, but yeah, you get a little bit sappy, you get a little bit teary-eyed thinking about that. And I think the hormonal surges or drops or whatever is going on right now makes that a little bit more difficult. You might be going through those papers. We homeschooled, so I have all of our kids' kindergarten papers and first and second and all of those cute little projects they did. You come across one of those, yeah, you might lose it. But I think that helps us to be more compassionate and to understand other people who are going through the same thing. When we're in our 40s, I think it's kind of like you're in a private club. We all know what it's like. We are all going through the same kind of things, which is a good reason to stick together and talk about it. So let's talk about it. Put your comments below. How did you survive your 40s if you're past it? No, really, not just survive. How did you thrive in your 40s? We want to know. Help us younger people out. If you haven't gotten there yet, what are some questions you have about being in your 40s? How I wish someone would have said, you have any questions about what's coming up? I really wasn't even thinking about it. I was just doing life, raising kids, and then bang, there it was. So many things to think about. It's not all bad. Maturity's here most of the time, but it doesn't stop here. We're going to keep on changing. Those of you in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond know what it's all about. So be sure to share those experiences with us. Have any funny antics or anecdotes that anyone has shared with you about getting older? There's so many things out there. There's also tips and tricks for helping out with the hot flashes, to help out with the drier skin and stuff like that. We're in this together. Let's duke it out side by side. We're gonna make it. It's not as bad as it seems. And And now it's not going to be a surprise for all of my viewers. Share this video. Let your friends know they're not alone. Let them know what's coming up and that there's other people going through the same thing. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe. I put out new content every week. God bless.